Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva said on Tuesday that it was necessary to protect freedom of press in United Nations in New York, and that Wikileaks should not be tried for informing public. A journalist like Julian Assange cannot be punished for informing the society transparent and legitimate, said. The comments of the president, U.S. officials, Congress members and civil rights groups, together with Washington, D.C. Australian politicians come together a day before the cross-party delegation. He brings a letter that calls for prosecution against Assange, which can be sentenced to a year in prison. In late October, U.S. President Joe Biden will host Australian Prime Minister Anthony Arnavut. Arnavuts called for the USA to end the Australian journalist again in recent months. The delegation of the Australian deputies will visit us for the publication of Julian Assange. Strong message. Assange is faced with 17 accusations. Get accusation fee to get conspiracy make public and computer attack within the scope of espionage law. Malzemes also show CIA examples that participate in torture interpretation. WikiLeaks guarantee video showing the U.S. military weapon in Iraq, including 2 journalists, was also released 13 years ago. On Tuesday, Lula said, "Our struggle is against disinformation and cyber crimes." He continued, movements and platforms should not eliminate the laws that we fight too much. Assange has been held in London's high-security Belmarsh prison since it was removed from Ecuador on April 11, 2019 for violating bail conditions. He would not give assurance that he would protect from returning, and he fell at the end of investigations into allegations sexual assault. The Australian Prime Minister says the government stands intact against the prosecution of Julian Assange in May. Lula condemned the lack of efforts to release Assange, and called a journalist who condemned a cheating by one state that he was arrested, sentenced to die in prison, and called a shame that we did not do anything save him. "This is a crazy thing," Lula said to the journalists at that time. "We're talking about freedom of expression, because the man condemned to do it wrong, and the press doesn't do anything to defend this journalist. Obama administration decided not to reveal Assange after WikiLeaks published cables in 2010. Because he would have to blame journalists of the major news organizations that publish materials transferred. However, former President Trump, Ministry of Justice, then took action to blame Assange in accordance with the espionage law, and Biden administration continued to prosecute. Lula, in May, told journalists, "I think defense must be the movement of world." The man did not condemn anything rude. He condemned that a state spies to others and has become a crime against this journalist. The press. Defending the freedom of the press does not do anything to save this citizen. Last year, Cablegate leaked The Guardian. The N.